Hello and a warm welcome to everyone. Myself Manish Prabhakar Singh, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Model College, Kharsawa, affiliated to Kulhan University, Chaibasa. Today's lecture will be about the early period of Renaissance, talking about the early Tudor period, that is, the period from 1485 to 1558. This lecture has been divided into two parts. The first part will be dealing with the impact of Renaissance and Reformation at the literature of this particular time period. If you look at the timeline of the Tudors, it covers the period from 1485 to 1603. The three main monarchs, that is Henry VII, Henry VIII, and Elizabeth I, played an important part in turning England from a European backwater still immersed in the Middle Ages into a powerful Renaissance state. Henry VII defeated the King Richard III in the Battle of Bosworth Field in 1485, bringing to an end a strife between noble families that almost lasted a century. By undermining the nobility and marrying Elizabeth of York, he united the varying house and secured himself the position of the throne. Henry VIII is one of the most important monarchs to have ruled English and Wales. During his 4 decades of sovereignty, he presided over the foundation of Church of England, a remodeling of the government, and as John Guy says, England was economically healthier, more expensive, and more optimistic under the Tudors than at any time in 1,000 years. The period was of stability, settlement, and expansion. Before moving further and talking about the impact of Renaissance in England, let us first understand what do we mean by Renaissance. The Renaissance was a period in European history marking the transition from the Middle Ages to modernity during the 15th and 16th century. It is a French word meaning reawakening into the knowledge which existed in the past. It was a period of revival of learning which was caused by the discovery of hundreds of Greek and Latin manuscripts which were lost during the Middle Ages. Renaissance was like a cultural movement which acted as a bridge between Middle Ages and modern history. It spread across Europe from its birthplace in Italy, and its influence was felt in literature, art, music, politics, science, religion, and other aspects of intellectual inquiry. The backbone of the Renaissance was the humanism. You already know that people had started to lose faith in the church due, its, due to its illegal practices and corruption. Humanists believed that the man should be the subject of study and not God, as the church had taught during the medieval period. In a way, they wanted to reform the churches and put more focus on men and mankind. The English Renaissance was a cultural and artistic movement in England dealing from the late 15th to early 17th century. The beginning of English Renaissance is often taken as 1485 when the Battle of Bosworth Field ended the Wars of the Roses and inaugurated the Tudor dynasty. It was like a period of early Renaissance and it reached its zenith during the Elizabethan period. The important event during the English Renaissance was the rise of the Tudor dynasty, and the most important was the coming of the printing press to England. The printing press was invented by Johannes Gutenberg. It was introduced into England by William Caxton, which paved the path for revival of learning. Another turning point in world history was Protestant Reformation. Catholic Church at that time had become one of the most powerful religious, political, and financial institutions. But with the revival of learning, people began to question the biblical teaching of the Catholic churches. We find many humanists like Martin Luther, Erasmus, who wanted to reform the Catholic Church. Martin Luther was a German monk who condemned the contradictory teaching and corruption of churches. Erasmus also rejected Catholic monasticism and wanted to return to the values and habits of the early church. You have already learned about John Wycliffe, whom historians categorized as the evening star of scholasticism and the morning star of the English Reformation. The English Reformation was closely bound up with the personal affairs of Henry VIII. The political history of the nation is intricately connected with the religious reformation of the period. Henry VIII was desperate for a male heir as Catherine of Aragon did not give birth to a son. So he wanted divorce from Catherine of Aragon and wanted to marry Anne Boleyn, but there was a problem as the Catholic Church did not agree at all. Henry VIII tried many ways to convince the church, but the church did not move away from its decision, and so he decided to break completely with the Catholic Church. And for his own church, the Church of England, the new learning had made itself felt in England as early as the 15th century, but these early manifestations left no early marks. Moving on, one of the major humanists of this period was Erasmus. Desiderius Erasmus was a Dutch humanist who was also the editor of the New Testament. He was also friend with Thomas More. He wrote various works like The Praise of Folly, Silenci Elisabethensis, as well as the Handbook of the Christian Soldier, which was translated into English by William Tyndale. We can see that morality and religion had become the central concerns of the English Renaissance. Thomas More was a scholar, statesman, diplomat, and a political theorist. His Utopia, written in 1516, describes an ideal commonwealth representing a humanist rather than a Christian conception of the state. The word utopia talks about a new world in which everything was going to be positive. His polemical writings against the reformers begin with the dialogue published in 1528 with a series of belligerent attacks on Tyndale against whom he defended the Orthodox Roman Catholic position. It gives More the opportunity to display his humor and the words of colloquial style. As David Digest writes, the theological points on which More and Tyndale differed so strongly are bound up with the whole pattern of religious controversy of the age. Tyndale's view of the Bible and its authority in Christian life was more closer to Lollard's, but More wanted to purify rather than radically to recognize or to say reorganize the church, and he remained devoted to papal supremacy. He was quite similar to Erasmus and wanted to remove corruption without changing theological doctrine or ecclesiastical structure. But he became involved in political affairs and was executed in 1535. His execution marks end of Henry VIII's alliance with the most attractive elements of humanism and arrested the humanist movement in England for a generation. We can say that he remains the glory and tragedy of Henry VIII's reign. Moving on, John Skelton was an English poet and tutor to King Henry VIII of England. His Speculum Principes was a guide to proper princely behavior, and Erasmus correctly described him as the one light and glory of British letter. Roger Ascham was also an English scholar who is famous for his prose style. He acted as Princess Elizabeth's tutor in Greek and Latin, and his famous works are Taxophilus and the School Master. Thomas Eliot, and another important name, was an English diplomat and scholar who is best known as one of the first proponents of the use of English language for literary purpose. His defense of good women was written in support of learned women, as he was a supporter of humanist idea concerning the education of women. His most famous work, The Book of the Governor, published in 1531, is a treatise on moral philosophy intended to direct the education of those destined to fill high positions and to inculcate those moral principles which alone could fit them for the purpose of their duties. In the next part of the lecture, we will talk about Henry Howard, Thomas Wyatt, who played an important part in bringing sonnet to England and created path for the golden period of English history, the age of Shakespeare. Thank you for listening.